Welcome to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers, newbies, and veterans, and everyone in between. We're hosted by M.A. Lee with the assistance of Remy Black and Edie Runes, all from Writers Inc. books. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Each episode lasts as long as it takes to fix a quick dinner, drive a short commute, or take a brisk walk. Resources and links are in the show notes. Visit us at therightfocus.blogspot.com. Now, on to this week's episode. The Right Focus is currently in the series all about characters, from building and presenting a character to relationships, leadership styles, team roles, and special touches for characters. Avoid creating characters who are stereotypes. Reveal their public and private interiors. Focus on couples, mentors, enemies, and much, much more. The information comes from M.A. Lee's guidebook, Discovering Characters, part of the Discovering series on the writing craft. Link to the guidebooks are in the show notes. When I first started writing, back in the dark ages, I hunted up templates. They were difficult to find back in the pre-medieval age. Writer's Digest magazine had one character template in an issue, and I religiously used it with adaptations that I had learned during my journalism years. As life moves on, I left the templates behind and tried other methods. Psychology offered numerous methods for unlocking characters. One such method was running characters through the Myers-Briggs test. Keeping a character at the forefront while taking that test so that personal preferences don't influence the answers is extremely difficult. That's a great learning process for writers, getting our own minds and will and gut reactions out of the way to let the character speak. The best method I found for discovering a character, however, wasn't a template or the Myers-Briggs or any other test. Hands down, still to this day, in a greatly adapted form, the best method for beginning to develop a character was a 30-minute interview. The rules are simple. 10 questions, 3 minutes per question, free writing the answer. When you finish, pick up any idea that's still percolating and run with it as long as necessary. Through the interview, you reach the heart and gut out of your character more quickly than you will through any other method. On the internet are several versions of character interviews, many of which mimic basic template questions. Those don't delve deeply enough. Writers need to reach in and feel the heart pumping. We have to throw a punch and know how the character will take it. You can have some basic information about your character before you start, or you can just have the seed. These questions will crack that seed. Growth of character and story will start. The ideas that bud may transform during the writing. Once in the air, the planted story will take on a life of its own. Much will affect it. Crawling insects, nibbling mammals, birds, bats, the neighbor's cat after the birds, cold and heat, drought and deluge. Once you finish the story, you may look back at this interview and realize that you weeded out some stems that would have offered interesting subplots. Buds that you pruned to enable other flowers to flourish may have looked intriguing but offered too much distraction. Sequels can take care of the lost subplots and intriguing flower buds that were never allowed to grow. They're not lost. They're over in the compost, nourishing your dirt brain for later stories. Because you will have later stories. Each creative idea you develop nourishes that dirt brain so that it can germinate more ideas for more stories. Use a timer when you're going to do the character interview to limit your responses to each numbered item to 3 minutes. Select the character you want to explore, read the first item with its questions, set the timer. Write continuously until the timer goes off. Repeat until all numbered items are finished. Repeat the interview for each primary character in the story and your major secondaries. The first few times that you attempt the interview may not generate many ideas. You may not be able to answer all the parts of each item. The more times that you work with the interview, trying to write continuously for 3 minutes, the more successful you will become. Question 1. Goal. Who is this character? What does this character want? Where is the thing they want? How will the character get it? 2. Motivation. What gives this character purpose? How is the goal the reason behind the character's purpose? When did the character know or understand the reason for this motivation? Why is this motivation so important? 3. Dearest desire. The goal is what the character logically thinks can be achieved. What does this character truly crave? What does this character want more than anything else in life? Why does this character want it? How is or was this character thwarted from reaching this desire? 4. Conflict. Who or what stands in the way of the character achieving the goal? Why does this person or thing block the character? Does the obstacle connect to the dearest desire? 5. Progress. What gives the character hope? What keeps the character moving toward the goal, no matter the obstacles? What gives the character impetus to keep striving? 6. Secret. What secret does the character have to keep? How would the revelation of the secret destroy the goal, the desire, and the character? How did the secret become a secret? 7. Loss. What loss haunts the character? How did the loss occur? What regrets does the character have about this past loss? Is the loss tied to the secret or the dearest desire? 8. Fear. What fear cripples the character? What past event created the fear? How does the character react when threatened with the fear? How does the character deal with anticipated encounters with whatever will trigger the fear? 9. Personal sacrifice. What is the character willing to give up in order to achieve the goal, to achieve the dearest desire? Is the character willing to give up the goal itself? Will the character lose hope if forced to give up the goal? And 10. Honor. How far will the character go to achieve the goal? Is the character willing to commit evil, to become corrupted? Even if the dear desire were offered or threatened with destruction, what would the character absolutely refuse to do? Our example comes from Edie Runes, who is currently writing her Wild Sherwood series. She gives us the interview that she did to develop the character Will Scarlet. Under number 1, the goal, what does Will Scarlet want? Will was his uncle's heir. Then, when he protested his uncle's support of Prince John, an unworthy leader, and he called his uncle corrupt, his uncle dispossessed him of being his heir. He had Prince John provide a document declaring that his lands would go to an abbey after his wife's death, and his title would revert to any male child born of Rowena, Will's sister. The document is illegal because Prince John does not have that power. But as long as Prince John is in control of England, and Richard I, his brother, is unable to return because he's imprisoned in Germany, the document stands. Second, motivation. What is Will's motivation to join the outlaws in Sherwood? Well, he and his uncle had fiery arguments. Will's called Scarlet because he's got red hair, and his uncle has that same red hair. Will thought nothing of their arguments. They just always occurred. So his disinheritance was a shock, and being cast out was an additional shock. Dearest desire. What is Will's dearest desire? Edie rabbled on about a couple of other things, the inheritance and return of his rank and status. But then she started writing about Lily. Lily is a rather independent young lady of the middle class, the growing middle class. And Will, as a noble, has realized his attraction to her, and he tries to take advantage of her. But Lily won't have anything to do with it. She doesn't want to be trapped by a child. She wants marriage to an honorable man. This makes Will realize that he needs to have his old life restored, so he cannot continue as an outlaw. 4. The conflict. What stands in the way? His uncle won't restore him as his heir as long as his uncle trusts Prince John and Abbot Veritas, who has currently been replaced at Throckmorton Abbey by Abbot Petros. Prince John's corruption has to be revealed during the course of the book, and Edie rambled on about how she might do that. And Veritas was kidnapped into the fairy kingdom, so he has to return a changed man, and he has to convince the uncle not to give the lands to the abbey. Number 5, progress Edie does not want to share because it reveals too much of the story. The same thing with the secret to be kept. Too much of the story is going to be revealed. She's going to let us have just a little bit of the loss that's haunting the character. Losing what amounts to his future really bothers Will, especially when he realizes his sister Rowena will be affected and when it prevents him from being able to court Lily. Number 8, fear, what cripples him. And number 9, the personal sacrifice, again reveal too much of the story. Number 10, honor, how far will Will go to achieve his goal? He's willing to become an outlaw, but that was defiance of his uncle, and he was just sort of playing at it. The rest of what Edie has written brings in a new character for the story, a character that she did not anticipate at all before she started this interview. So that also cannot be shared. We hope, Edie and I, that this look at an example of an interview with a character will help you also develop your own sketches of characters based on an interview. Thanks for listening to The Right Focus, a podcast for writers at all levels, hosted by Emma Lee from Writers Inc. Books, assisted by Renee Black and Edie Runes. Our focus is productivity, process, craft, and tools. Music is licensed through Audio Jungle, called Background Music Loop. Its creator is Alexander Polishchuk, known on Audio Jungle as Plastic 3. The music comes in different iterations. Show notes and resource links for this and other episodes can be found at therightfocus.blogspot.com. Write to us at winkbooks@aol.com when you have questions, comments, and speculations. We will try to answer you as quickly as possible. By the way, we will not mind your email address. That's rude. If you find value in our content, share with your writing friends or write a review. We're small beans here without the advertising budget of the big peeps, and you can make a difference. And whatever occurs, write on. Welcome to The Right Focus.